reckon over the course of the day today, I must have cut through like 2,000 wires at least, or at least 2,000 cuts were made, sometimes twice on the same wire, and it's because I was disassembling like a server room in a clearance that we're doing of a big office building. And honestly, I feel so sorry for electricians because you can't really wear gloves because the things are too finicky. Like, you need to have your digits as ample as they possibly can be, and so you need to be able to do sort of like fine handling of wires, and therefore your hands just rub against the rubber over and over and over again. Rubber? Wires made of rubber or plastic? So your hands rub against the plastic over and over again. And my hands are just so sore. Sorry, I had to stop for a little cough there. My hands are so sore, and they've got blisters on them, and yeah, it was a long job to do, but it was satisfying in the end because I cleared like this entire room of servers essentially, and it was rough work, but it was satisfying in the end. That to the side for now. Today I will briefly talk about this idea that I found a while ago I've got the book here, in the Personal MBA, which I'm a big fan of because it not just taught me a little bit about business. I mean, you can get the picture from the Personal MBA. The idea is that it's an MBA in a book, a business course in a book. And the reason I like it is because it's not just the business side of things, the finances, the accounts, how to get client acquisition, if you will. It is also like, it's got some psychological heuristics in there, if you will, or methods and tactics and things like that. And so the one that I want to talk about briefly today is this thing called the Fivefold Why. And I haven't reread through the chapter because I remember it quite well. I remember the essence of it. And what it is it's just that when you want to do something, you think you want to do something, you have the motivation to do something, or you desire something, you should ask yourself why. And let's say I want a car. I might say I want a car because I like cars and I want to be able to get about a bit. And then you ask yourself why again, and the next why will be like, well, why do I want to get about a bit, and why do I like cars? I like cars because they're aesthetically pleasing and they're a indicator of status. I want to get about because I need a car for work, my job is a way away, or I want to be able to see friends, or I want to be able to travel, and so on and so forth. Why? And you go down 5 times to your core desire. And a lot of the time the idea is that when you get down to that core desire, you'll find out that could be achieved without the initial thing. So you could actually travel without a car, or why do you want status, for example? That might be because you didn't feel loved as a child, or you want to feel more loved. And then of course you can ask yourself the question, will getting a car make me feel more loved? Maybe it will, but I think after a while you will realise that, say, if people are like, you've got a Lamborghini, wow, that's so cool, they're admiring the car, they're not admiring you. And it's just a really cool technique, and it's not particularly difficult to enact or to use. You just do it in a notebook, and it's a really good exercise in finding out what it is you really want. Because I, over the course of my life, have always struggled with that question a bit. What do I actually want? Like, what do I actually want? And you can do other exercises like, what is a perfect day to me? And for me, by the way, it's different. I haven't thought about it recently because I've got like a full family essentially. But in the past, it was go and sit in coffee shops all day and read, bounce from coffee shop to coffee shop and just read. And oh man, that sounds amazing. Especially when I was living in Brighton, because it would be coffee shop, maybe grab a takeaway coffee, walk along the beachfront, be in nature, just, man, beautiful. But yeah, it's different now. And with the Fivefold Whys, you do get down to what is it I actually want. Here's my career choice. This is the thing that I want to be. So I want to be a doctor. Why do I want to be a doctor? Because being a doctor pays well, and also because it's prestigious. Why do I want to do something that's prestigious? Because I want to use the status involved to attract people. Why do I want to attract people, and why else do I want to use the status involved? Well, because my family put a lot of emphasis on the importance of being a vital member of society and a highly contributing member of society. And you can do it with absolutely anything. And in some ways, it's like what a kid does. A kid will say to you, "Yeah, but why?" And you'll say, "Well, let's say they ask you, what are those things on the tree, Daddy?" And you say, "Well, they're leaves." And they say, "But why are they on the trees, Daddy?" And then you're like, these are questions I'm preparing for myself. And you wouldn't know at the first step, really. Why are the leaves on the trees? Well, they are serving the tree by providing it with sunlight, I guess I could say, and absorbing water. I think leaves absorb water in some case. And then they say, why? Because the tree needs to transfer light and water into energy. Why? You know what I mean? It keeps going, and that's what a kid does. And not only in terms of self-understanding is it a great thing to do, but it's also a great thing to do in trying to understand absolutely anything, a topic. And it takes you, the reason it's good as well is it takes you right down to the first principles. If you were asking about a car, those whys would ultimately get you right down to the very last part, or how, I guess. And so that's another thing in the book is the fivefold how. Similar thing. How am I going to get there? How am I going to get there? And actually, do you know what? I've just looked at this and I've remembered that a lot of the things that I do now, a couple of them are from this book. That little frown that I did there was because, well, not a lot of things, but a couple of things. This other thing in there, he had the fivefold hows next to the fivefold, by Josh Kaufman, by the way. Next to the fivefold why was the fivefold how, next to the fivefold how was the next action, the technique. The fivefold how is just fivefold why, down, 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 down. And then that gets you to, okay, well, what are my next actions? Because a lot of the time when we say we want to do things, we don't really articulate. That's my favourite word, isn't it? Articulate. The one thing I have learned to do from this journey in articulation is learn how to use the word articulate. So fivefold how, lost myself there. We don't really, when we say we want to do something, we think, let me try and give you an example to get out of this little circle of confusion. I want to create essentially like a media company in the long run, and it will begin with me, and the idea is that eventually it will grow. I don't necessarily want to be anyone's boss, but I like what the guys at Every are doing, where it's like a newsletter collaboration where they collaborate with other creators and feature them on the newsletter. That's the type of thing I'm into. But separate from that, I like the idea of having a media not media empire, because that's grim, like Rupert Murdoch. No, fuck that man. But some kind of advanced media presence, I guess. See, just having to elaborate on it is making me realise that I'm not clear enough about my goals. But okay, cool. So how am I going to get there? Well, I'm starting by making videos, and next I'm going to make lots of different types of videos, and then I'm going to start to write again as well, and I'm going to post my articles and stuff. And then I will probably look, and with the iterating on each of these things and improving, I will probably look at collaborating with people. And when you use the fivefold how, you can then go, how are you going to do that? Let's go back to the first one. How are we going to make videos? Well, I'm going to plan some time where I can do it. How are you going to do that? And you can just go how on every single thing and get yourself right down to the very next thing you need to do, and that's the next action. And if you have next actions for things, your life is going to be much clearer, because it's one thing having written on your whiteboard, like I've got my fridge over there, do the garden. how am I going to do that? Well, the next action is, I don't know, get the hoe out of the shed to prepare to do it. And that just gets you a little bit closer. And sometimes that first thing is all you need to get going because you've got the momentum, whatever. So that is the fivefold why, the fivefold how, and next action techniques from Josh Kaufman's book, The Personal MBA. I actually really like Josh Kaufman. He wrote another book that was like, it was called the something Hydra. I think it might have just been called The Hydra. And what he did in it is he was like trying to teach either psychological or philosophical or combination of both principles within a fiction book. And I like that because I think story is important in learning anything. Story is the thing that really entices us and as human beings, and the thing that we really understand for whatever reason. And I'm still to get a proper grasp of storytelling. It's something I want to understand further, but that's for another episode. I'm going to hop out now because my eyes, for some reason, I'm wasted, man. Like, tired, not drunk. Interestingly, sorry to brag, but I haven't drunk for about 150 days. And that's a story for another time. But my eyes are just, they're like on a delay, like, because I'm so tired. And so when I look, it feels like I'm just going, I'm looking, and then my eyes are going, 1, 2, 2. It's horrible. I think they're just dry, and maybe I'm dehydrated and stuff. But yeah, cool. Okay, I will see you tomorrow, and I need to put out another scrolling video, which I will hopefully do over the next couple of days. I'll be less tired over the weekend as well because it's the weekend and I'll get to sleep in a bit and have a bit more time to prepare for my videos, which is exciting. But yeah, have a nice day, have a nice evening, have a nice morning. Don't be too hard on yourself, but at the same time, don't let yourself sink below the things that you are capable of. What do I mean by that? Don't self-denigrate yourself, and don't undervalue yourself, because you might just be one person and you might have multiple flaws, just like me, which, let me tell you, I do, both physical and mental and emotional and relationshipal in many of my relationships and how I deal with them. But you are capable of massive bouts of kindness, and you are capable of affecting this world in a very positive way. I believe in you because I believe in me, and I'm just a regular dude with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 views on this YouTube channel. Cool, catch you later, bye bye.